Imagine waking up every single day knowing your family might not eat. Not because you were poor, but because almost everyone around you was. If you were a kid during the Great Depression, you didn't get to just be a kid. You had to survive. And today, we're breaking down exactly why it sucked growing up during the Great Depression. And trust me, it was worse than you think. First off, money basically stopped working. Families walked into stores with $1, only to find that the price of bread had doubled since the last time they were there. Kids watched their parents panic because the bank lost everyone's savings overnight. One day you had a house, the next week your family didn't. Children saw their parents break down, cry, or go silent because everything they had worked for was suddenly gone. That kind of stress hits a kid harder than you'd expect. School also became optional for a lot of kids. Not because the rules changed, but because survival did. If your dad lost his job, you went to work too, even if you were only 8 or 12 years old. Kids quit school to pick crops, shine shoes, sell newspapers, or work in factories for a few cents an hour. Childhood wasn't really a thing anymore. You weren't a student. You were backup income. Food became a daily battle. Kids lined up for soup kitchens, hoping there was still something left when they got to the front. Meals were tiny. A bowl of watery soup, maybe a piece of bread if they were lucky. Kids learned to go to sleep hungry so their younger siblings could eat first. And almost every kid knew someone who fainted at school simply because they hadn't eaten in days. For many children, the biggest goal each day wasn't playtime. It was finding any food at all. Losing your home was extremely common. Millions of kids experienced getting kicked out onto the street. Entire families slept in cars, old barns, or makeshift shacks made of cardboard and scrap metal. Some neighborhoods became giant Hoovervilles, places where homeless families tried to survive together. Kids grew up surrounded by poverty, dirt, rats, and freezing winters with no heat. That wasn't an exception. That was normal. A lot of kids didn't stay in one place for long. Many hopped on freight trains, illegally riding from state to state looking for work or food. Some left home alone because their parents couldn't afford to feed them anymore. Imagine being 13 years old, riding on top of a moving train with strangers, hoping you'd survive the trip. Thousands of kids traveled the country like this because it was the only chance they had. Health was a whole different problem. Malnutrition made kids extremely weak, and with no money for doctors, even small illnesses could become deadly. Cuts got infected, colds turned into pneumonia, and diseases spread fast. Dust storms were so bad that kids had to wear masks made from wet cloth just to breathe during the Dust Bowl years. Houses filled with dirt, kids coughed nonstop, and some even developed long-term breathing problems from simply living through it. Emotionally, the Great Depression forced kids to grow up way too fast. They watched their parents struggle with guilt and helplessness. They learned how to stretch food, work long hours, travel alone, and stay quiet about their fears. Fun wasn't part of daily life. Survival was. Even toys were homemade out of trash, sticks, or scraps because nobody could afford anything extra. Kids didn't complain. They simply accepted that this was life. But despite how bad things were, many kids from the Great Depression grew up strong, responsible, and incredibly resourceful. They learned how to appreciate everything they had and how to fight through the hardest times without giving up. Their childhood was stolen by the economy, but their resilience shaped an entire generation. So yeah, being a kid during the Great Depression sucked. Not because life was a little tough, but because every day was a fight to stay fed, stay warm, stay healthy, and stay hopeful. And the fact that so many children survived it shows just how powerful the human spirit can be.